fire within is the drive that carries us to the summit of ambitions. The unseen current that pushes us beyond limits. Yet when the summit is lost and the fall comes, it is not the body that falters first, but the spirit. The fire dims, the certainty wavers, and doubt creeps in where once there was unshakable belief. What truly separates one fighter from another is not the glory of the rise, but the resilience of the return. The willingness to claw back through the shadows of defeat. To chase once more the light of greatness, even as the world whispers that the best days are behind them. It is in that defiance, that refusal to surrender to time or perception, where the essence of a true fighter is revealed. Joseph Parker and Fabio Wardley is set for October 25th at London's O2 Arena, with both fighters putting the interim heavyweight titles on the line after missing out on a shot at undisputed champion Oleksandr Usyk. Parker, a seasoned former world champion, has reignited his career with a string of recent wins over top contenders. Faces Wardley, an executioner who has since made his name from stopping 18 of his 19 opponents, making him one of the division's most dangerous punchers. Wardley's dramatic rise from white-collar boxing and his recent come-from-behind KO of Justice Hooney have fueled excitement. But Parker questions whether Wardley's record reflects elite opposition, with both men eager to prove themselves as the true next in line for heavyweight supremacy. This matchup promises a clash of Parker's experience and ring IQ against Wardley's raw power and unpredictability. The styles could be more contrasting, as Fabio Wardley represents the archetype of the explosive pressure puncher. A heavyweight who thrives on chaos and momentum rather than structured technicality. His style is rooted in raw athleticism, heavy hands, and an instinctive ability to find fight-ending shots in unpredictable moments. Wardley often forgoes a traditional jab-based setup, instead closing distance quickly and unloading combinations designed to batter rather than outmaneuver.
Doing the right thing, trying to counter the punches of Gorman. This is good work, and he's really struggling in there, but he's firing back, he's doing it all.
He carries knockout power in both hands, making him dangerous at any stage of the fight.
Inside the distance. And many of them.
And his willingness to take risks creates an aura of constant threat.
Gotta be careful for that one.
Defensively, he can be vulnerable. His eagerness to trade sometimes leaves opening, but his resilience and composure under fire allow him to recover and turn the tide in exchanges. At his core, Wardley is a finisher, a fighter who embodies the belief that one decisive punch can change everything. And he thrives in a kind of high-intensity exchanges where his power and determination shine brightest. Joseph Parker embodies the archetype of the technical boxer puncher, a heavyweight who blends speed, timing, and ring intelligence rather than relying solely on brute force.
Those are big punches, good straight right over.
His style is built around a sharp, fast jab that he uses to disrupt rhythm and create openings, often doubling or tripling.
That was one of them, but missed.
Parker moves with fluidity for a big man, circling opponents and using lateral footwork to avoid being a stationary target, which allows him to outpoint fighters in longer exchanges.
Oh, big right uppercut, the shot. Precisely the punch that end.
Defensively, he favors subtle head movement and quick exits rather than high guard pressure, making him difficult to pin down. Offensively, he's most effective when he strings together combinations, finishing with crisp hooks and overhand rights.
Positive, landed some really good shots. Right hand, just.
Though at times, he can become too cautious, letting opponents back into fights. At his best, Parker is a disciplined, high IQ boxer who neutralizes aggression with speed and precision, wearing opponents down with consistency rather than chasing reckless knockouts.
Oh, lovely right to the body.
But I guarantee he's blocking some of it, but Parker is a sharpshooter in this fight.
Fabio Wardley has stormed through the British heavyweight scene with explosive knockouts, earning a reputation as a dangerous finisher who can end a fight in an instant. But behind the highlight reels, there are more clear questions about his overall game. Wardley's biggest strength, his willingness to commit, is also his biggest weakness. When he swings for maximum damage, he often overcommits, compromising his balance while leaving him exposed to counters. His flat-footed stance and limited punch variety make him predictable. And when he traps opponents against the ropes, he often gets anxious, forcing wild combinations that not only drastically drains his cardio, but leads to longer recovery time, allowing the opponent to answer back with little repercussion. Defensively, Wardley relies more on reflexes than structure, often keeping his lead hand low. The problem with this is, his reaction time isn't the best, leaving him exposed, especially to jabs and shots from the blind side. On the inside, his power could be smothered, and while his chin has held up thus far, it has been tested against the division's sharpest punchers. In his recent fight with Justice Huni, Wardley was outboxed round after round, struggling with speed and movement, only saved by his power. It's the classic story of a dangerous puncher, whose flaws become harder to hide as the competition stiffens. As the more technical boxer puncher, Parker's strategy should revolve around discipline and control. His speed advantage with the jab would be the foundation, keeping Wardley at range while disrupting his forward momentum. Constant lateral movement and sharp angles will prevent Wardley from setting his feet, limiting his chances of unloading his power. Parker should look to draw the puncher into overcommitting, then firing back with quick 1-2 punch combinations before slipping out the pocket. The goal would be to drag Wardley into deep waters, avoiding early firefights, extending the fight into the later rounds, where the puncher's power and explosiveness fades, while Parker's experience takes over. Above all, Parker's focus should be aimed at minimizing risk, staying defensively focused, tying up on the inside when needed, and refuse reckless exchanges. Those of Parker's losses have revealed a clear pattern of weakness. Against Joshua, he was far too hesitant, allowing Joshua to dictate and control the fight while failing to commit to his own offense. Against Dylan White, Parker once again started slow, giving away early rounds and struggled with White's roughhouse tactics and physicality on the inside. And in his defeat to Joe Joyce, Parker showed flashes of short boxing, but couldn't keep the juggernaut off him, eventually succumbing to the ceaseless pressure and volume. The common thread is clear. Parker often fights in spurts. When he's active, he's accurate, but when he goes quiet, opponents build momentum and take over. That lack of sustained output and occasional passivity has been the deciding factor in all his losses. For Wardley, the strategy against Parker is clear. He has to turn his bout into a fight, not a boxing match. Parker is experienced, composed, and dangerous when allowed to dictate the pace. Wardley can't afford to sit back and wait. He needs to press, apply pressure, and make Parker uncomfortable for the opening bell. Wardley's best chance is to pull Parker into exchanges where his power thrives. But Parker has shown a tendency to go passive for long stretches. By cutting off the ring and letting his hands go in bursts, Wardley can test Parker's chin and durability, forcing him to fight at a tempo he doesn't always sustain. But it's not just about aggression. Wardley must stay disciplined. Overcommitting will leave him open to Parker's sharp counters. The key will be sustained pressure, working behind a jab, backing Parker up with his right hand, and then unloading his power when Parker falls back into his high guard. Ultimately, the edge lies in chaos, forcing exchanges and creating messy moments. Wardley can bring his finishing power into play, the kind of power that can change the fight in an instant.
Good left hand in there from Parker.
As the two top contenders enter the ring, the question looms large. Will Parker be able to handle Wardley's power and explosiveness? Parker has the clear edge and fundamentals and experience, but Wardley's power and aggression are unpredictable. The test will be whether Parker's defense and composure can withstand the early storm. Will Wardley's power carry into the later rounds? He's shown knockout ability, but against a durable veteran like Parker, can he sustain the intensity without fading? Is Parker too cautious? At times, he's been criticized for letting opponents slip. If he falls back into the pattern, Wardley could seize control. Can Wardley take away space effectively? Parker's jab and movement are proven weapons, and Wardley must trap rather than chase to position himself for the bigger shots. Then comes the defining variable: experience versus momentum. Parker has stood across world champions and rebuilt his career brick by brick, turning back contender after contender. Wardley, undefeated and riding the wave of 2 big victories, enters with raw hunger and conviction. What happens if the fight goes the distance? Parker has the tools to win on points, while Wardley's best chance may come before the final bell. The unknowns: Wardley's stamina, his ability to adapt, and how he handles the championship rounds could decide everything. What unfolds will reveal if Parker reestablishes himself as the true #1 contender, or Wardley announces himself as the legitimate threat of the heavyweight division. Joseph Parker by unanimous decision.